Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg, and this is a preview of Tainted Grail Song of a Dying World. Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Tainted Grail Song of a Dying World. Now I have quite a few things to say about this, but first of all, thank you to Studio Agate for sponsoring this video. This is a sponsored preview and they will be on GameFound. The link is down below, but the project is not yet live. It's going to be from February 13th to March 8th, so you can check out the link down below to see the pre-launch page, but it will be launching on Tuesday. Another thing to note is that this is an RPG. You might be familiar with the world of Tainted Grail, you may have heard of it, the game from Awakened Realms. It was a board game and then a video game, and now there is an RPG around it based on the team around Studio Agate, and they based their combat system on a system that they had developed called Shadows of Esteren. So with that, we are going to jump right into it, but this is a welcome to the world of RPGs on the Board Game Co channel, and I know that this may not be something that you are all very used to, but some of you completely are, so I may be going over some things that are RPG based that you may already know, but it's kind of going over what it is as a genre as well as what this particular game system is. But if you'd like to see more, there will be a gameplay on the channel as well. That will be coming in the future, but stay tuned because there will also be a gameplay with Alex Radcliffe himself. Now, if you are used to board games, you are used to more of a structured system where you're going from A to B and you have objectives, you know rounds, and clearly how the game is going to end. In an RPG, it isn't like that. You're going through different narrative arcs, playing through the game, experiencing the story, and it's more about playing the game as opposed to getting to any end point. You're also playing this cooperatively with your friends. Someone is the game master called the leader, but other than that, you are playing at a table with your friends, so it is cooperative and you do want everyone to do well together. So there isn't that sense of competition really, unless you might have some friendly Legolas and Gimli type competition among your friends. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with RPGs, I'm going to be going over that, but using this game itself to show you the different things that you would do when you're playing throughout the game. But as I said, there is one person that needs to be the game master, and that being said, they will have this very cool DM screen. It's placed in front of them, and a lot of stuff is secret to everybody else. They are the ones that are rolling the monsters and the different things that you're encountering, including things that you have to overcome or certain challenges like just opening a door. That should be very easy, but sometimes the door is locked or has a certain riddle in front of it, and the DM will know what to do behind this screen, and they'll be able to run that, while the players themselves have these character sheets, and they are using these characters, moving them around on this grid, and there are maps provided so that when you are in these encounters, you are able to maneuver around. Now, here are a few of the pre-generated character sheets. There are also miniatures that will come with the characters, but here is an example of a playable character, Maeve. Now, for Maeve, you can see that she has all of her different abilities here, and this is how players will determine different things that they're able to do. You'll have things like your speed, which will determine how fast you move in combat. You have your different attacks that you have, and you'll have your different domains and disciplines, which means how good you are at doing certain things. Now, in an RPG, there is definitely combat, but there are other things that you'll be doing as well. You'll be interacting with different townsfolk, uncovering mysteries, and you will need other skills on top of just fighting to be able to encounter these different people. For example, you'll have communication skills, you'll have healing skills that you may encounter hurt people and stuff like that, and there are also things like performance where you can eventually build up to be a performer and perhaps win some gold or be a very good distraction for a very good plan. Now, as I said, most of the players of the game will be these playable characters. You'll have your own character sheet, your miniature, and most of the checks you'll be making are with this D10. You'll be rolling the D10, and if it's a certain check, you'll be adding your disciplines on top of your way, and then you'll add those three numbers together and determine if your check is successful or not. Now, there are some rules around games like this. They give you guidelines for the different leaders where specific roles are considered difficult, easy, hard, things like that. So for example, in that roll, if I did roll something specific, if it was an 8, if the threshold was 8, it would be something easy, which means anyone could do it, but you should roll just to make sure that you're able to do it. There are difficult checks which require a 17 or higher, which means you definitely need your skills added to the die. You would need at least a 7 and then a 10 on the die to be able to hit that 17, but you could have even higher in your skills, which means you could roll lower in a situation like that. And then, for a really fun example, a superhuman test, if you wanted to do something that you should never, ever, ever be able to do, you'd have to get a 35. So good luck with that. I think that would definitely be as you've leveled up and you've gotten a lot more experience across the board, but that's pretty cool to know that a superhuman feat would be a 35. Now, as you can see, a lot of this player sheet is empty because as you're playing throughout the game, that is when you will be filling these out. You'll be gaining experience and using these different Ascension points to be upgrading your character and becoming more and more powerful. Now, as that happens, your encounters will also get more and more dangerous, but it's how you have a lot more options with your character and how you customize and build out the character that you would really love with everything that you would choose, and hopefully it does well for you and keeps you alive in the end. Now, I just want to go over this book with you guys because this RPG book, you can see how thick this baby is. This is just the prototype, but this is a lot of the meat and potatoes of the game. The leader will be using it the most, but the players will absolutely need it during character creation, and especially as they level up and get more detailed things such as magic casting and things like that. Now, you can see our character creation here, and I just want to flip through to show you how complex this can be in something like an RPG. You have your domains and disciplines at first. So you'll start off with choosing a domain that you want to be playing in. There are the awareness domains. There are the combativeness domains, conviction domains, creativity domains, and reason domains. So within that can kind of show you a lot of what type of character you want to be. For example, if you fell into the reason domain, you could be a healer, but you could also be a magic caster. So that kind of shows you what type of people would flock toward these types of domains. But at first, a player would choose one of these. Then after that, you would choose your color. When you choose your color, players can only choose one color each. When represented in the game, no two colors can be played at once, and these will represent your narrative story arcs, which will help you ascend throughout the game. Ascension is when you are moving toward your character's final goal destiny of becoming a Guardian of Avalon. And you can choose not to do this. However, if you do, you will gain certain disgrace stuff instead, and you will still change your character based on the choices that you're making. So you can see that for the blue domain, the core of the blue essence is its relation to others. So they would have different occupations such as the chief, guard, healer, or missionary. There's also the brown. The brown essence is committed to a tireless search for knowledge. The occupation examples would be alchemist, astrologist, sage, or scholar. Whereas the gray essence is the champion of excellence. It constantly strives to improve. So the occupations for the gray color would be an apprentice knight, mercenary, strategist, or tutor. The green color, the green essence, is focused on nature and the preservation of balance. These occupation examples would include a druid, geographer, rover, or traveling merchant. And finally, the red color would be, the red essence is an undefinable, changeable, ever-morphing power, and these occupation examples would include boatman, messenger, smuggler, or watchman. Now, if you ask me, I think I would be a red character right away, but I don't have to worry about that because I will be a leader of this game instead. But to continue through the character creation, you would all choose your colors, and then you would go on to really develop who your character is before you actually start the game. This will give you a lot of basis for what you're able to do, such as your starting items, weapons, what you're able to do in combat, your different domains and ways, and it will help you with what paths you try to develop as you gain experience. So you can see here there are the different domains. These are the domains of Avalon that you are able to choose. This is basically where you come from, and then you will distribute their ways. The ways of a character are going to be as follows. It can either be awareness, combativeness, conviction, creativity, and reason. This is where you're going to spend different skill points to determine what your character's like and what they may or may not be good at. Then you'll choose their occupation and allocate skills. This is showing who they were before you were playing the game and pretty much what their life was like when they were determining certain skills that they were gaining as they were living through their life. So a couple occupation examples are advisor, craftsman, executioner, laborer, horse breeder. You can see that there are quite a few things for you to choose from, and a lot of them are very true to the Avalon world from Tainted Grail. After that, you're not quite done yet. You'll have to go through the characters' disciplines. So you will go through that, but it is a lot of character creation that you'll have fun with. You'll do things like determine their age and different background things that you want to add for their lives. But after that, you have your character, and all of your friends hopefully do too, and you're able to start the game. Now, something that I didn't note, which is extremely important for the leader of the game, but all of the first section of the book, everything before character creation, I want to say the first 100 pages or so, is all lore around the world of Avalon and Tainted Grail. So for those of you that are familiar with Tainted Grail, it is during a tumultuous time where things are very up in the air. It's a very fictional, dark world based around Arthurian and Celtic legend, but this takes place 100 years later. So this is when people are finally starting to move out into the world, start shaking things up, inhabiting things again, and so there's a lot of lore and things that have happened in the past 100 years. Your players may ask a whole bunch of questions, may want certain backstories, may want to have lineages to certain things that have happened throughout that time period, and there's so much lore in this game that even if you're just a fan of Tainted Grail and you want more reading material, there is a ton of history about Avalon in this book. Now for the leaders, there is also a ton more throughout this book. It goes into things like different situations and the different checks that you'll be making. It gives you things like what people's weapons and equipment would be, magic casting, and things like that. And it also goes over the game system. Now the game system uses, as I said, the D10 for resolutions. When it's certain types of checks, it will take your discipline and your way, and when it is in combat, it will use your attack instead. So you'll be rolling to attack against certain defenses, and it will be your D10 value plus your added modifiers with your weapon, and you will be using that to maneuver. This combat system is meant for small skirmish type situations that are very deadly, so it can get quite scary, and players will constantly be on their toes with this combat system, feeling like they just made it out and used all of their wits and everything available to them to make it out of the combat situation. Players should be approaching with a lot of strategy when they encounter the different scenarios that they'll be playing through in Tainted Grail, Song of a Dying World. There are some situations where perhaps you should sneak around, find a different way, or even just escape, and players will be forced with those choices amongst each other to make sure that they come up with a group consensus on how to get out of these different situations. Now the game will come with 5 pre-generated characters that you can play as with their character sheets as well as their miniatures, but there are also character sheets for you to create your own characters as well. You could start a campaign with the pre-generated ones, get to learn the system, and then create your own, or play it however you would like. The leader of the game will be guiding players through these different story arcs where they will get their different Ascension points and ultimately become different Guardians of Avalon. Now, as I said, there is so much in this book. It is a 350-page source book where it gives you a history, character creation, combat, and a bunch of little minute things such as your equipment, weapons, and things like that. This has been a preview of Tainted Grail Song of a Dying World. Thank you all for watching, and big thank you to Studio Agate for sponsoring this video. As a reminder, you can check out the GameFound link down below. It is not live yet, but it will be live on Tuesday, and there will be a playthrough on the Board Game Code channel of this RPG. I've been Professor Meg, and I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye!